As you all know, we'll be presenting on the challenges of the ASM sector in Liberia and the role of the Liberian Geological Survey. Okay, basically, there are three components of this presentation. The first component of this presentation will focus on the overview, the introduction of the ASM sector. Will bring you the picture of how does it look in Liberia, the ASM sector. We'll go through the challenges of the second part will be the challenges of the ASM sector in Liberia. And the last part of it is the role of the Liberian Geological Survey in the ASM sector. So as you see on the outline there, the formalities of the ASM sector in Liberia, the legal provisions, the various licenses, or mining procedures, which we'll go with you through that. The ownership of minerals, okay, in terms of ownership right, the organogram of the relevant public authority that manage the sector, mineral rights and licenses, how does it go? What qualified an individual for mineral rights and licenses? Formalization of the ASM sector in Liberia. We have a 3-year roadmap now that have been funded by GIZ. We are formalizing the ASM sector in Liberia. ASM operations in Liberia, licenses and revenue statistics. We will show you some ASM operations in Liberia. It also give you some statistical background of licenses and revenue generation in the ASM sector within a specific period of time. That will cover on the ASM, as we said, research and trading licenses, and also the revenue generation. Okay, as we said, the challenges of the sector and the role of the LGS, the Liberian Geological Survey. Then we'll have a few recommendations that are needed to improve the sector in my country, or the sub-region, or the region as a whole. Formalities of the ASM sector in Liberia. As we say, the ASM sector in Liberia is legal. Okay, with those sections, because the Liberian Mineral and Mining Law, the Act was passed in 2000. So there are legal provisions for the ASM sector in Liberia. Okay, as we know, the relevant public authority is the Ministry of Lands, Mines and Energy. As we go further, we'll show you the organogram of that. The various licenses issued. Prospecting license issue is a research license to obtain Class B, which is the artisanal mining. The artisanal mining license is a form of mining in which you use primitive tools, no mechanized equipment. Okay. The Class B mining license, that is a medium scale mining. You use some form of mechanized equipment, semi-mechanized. And the big companies, the Class A mining licenses. And we also have the trading licenses, brokership, dealership, and export licenses. The main commodities mined in the sector is basically gold and diamond. Okay, then for these other commodities, they are still being set up. We only have one licenses for them yet. Coltan, heavy mineral basement deposit, and barite. So it's still being set up. Only one mining license, so we don't even have much information on them. Ownership of minerals. Okay, according to Chapter 2, Section 2.1 of the Minerals and Mining Law of 2000, minerals could be on the surface, on the offshore, on the water, on riverbed. It's owned by government. So even if you find gold in your room, it's owned by government. You must have to go for license for that. So there's no private ownership of minerals. Sometimes in other cases it can be negotiated in the various mining districts or agencies. We have traditional people. When claims are surveyed, when licenses are surveyed, traditional people can have some claims. Like we said, our licenses, the Class C license is restricted to 25 acres of land. It's restricted to only Liberian. Okay? So traditional ownership can come in based upon negotiation with the traditional people, the miner, and the government. Okay? For the Class B licenses, that is the semi-mechanized. You must do prospecting to obtain a Class B mining license, okay? So, also some traditional ownership can come and use the semi-mechanized, okay? Responsible government agency, okay? For the relevant public authorities, the Ministry of Lands, Mines, and Energy, okay? So basically, you have the minister there and his principal deputies, okay? The Department for Planning, under the Department of Planning, the Pressure Mineral Management Unit falls on that, okay? They take care of pressure minerals, they manage pressure minerals in terms of the royalties. So for our trading licenses, as I told you, we have brokership which is restricted to Liberians only. You only sell locally. The dealership licenses you can buy from, but broker is restricted to both it's not restricted to Liberian. Both Liberian and foreign nationals can take it, and you can get royalty from there. So the pressure mineral management unit, that's our rule. Our royalty on pressure mineral is 3%. They can appraise the gold and diamond, and they take their royalties from there, okay? The men have the class C or B, based upon the quantity of gold or diamond he has mined. He can also take an export license, okay? So going through the organogram is a very big organogram, so we won't go through with them for the sake of time, very, very detailed on it. Though part of the organogram that relate to the ASM sector, because we have the American system is very big. So all these departments work under the Ministry of Lands, Mines, and Energy. They are not autonomous. The Liberian Geological Survey is not autonomous, okay? So the Department of Mineral Exploration and Environmental Research is not autonomous here. So all of them work under the Ministry of Lands, Mines, and Energy. So, and also the Mineral Cadastral Management Unit. The Mineral Cadastral Management Unit, they are involved with licensing, the vetting of licenses. Okay, as we move further down the organogram, under the Pressure Mineral Office, we have the Government Diamond Office and Government Gold Office. They can appraise gold and diamonds and take the government royalty. For pressure minerals, we have 3%. For semi-pressure minerals like corundum, we have 2.5% royalty. For industrial mineral, barite, and other minerals, we have 2% royalty. Okay, the Department of Energy don't have nothing to do with this sector. So, but just because of, for the sake of this presentation in our organogram, we have it in it. Okay. So move to the Department of Mineral Exploration and Environmental Research, okay? On there you have two bureaus, Liberian Geological Services, they deal with water resource management, and the Liberian Geological Survey, we are involved with the vetting of research licenses, prospecting licenses. We perform the role of both research and a regulatory body also. Then you have cadastral is on its own, as I said. The Department of Mines and Concessions. For the Department of Mines and Concessions, you have the Bureau of Mines. They issue Class C and B mining licenses. The Bureau of Economic Forecast, they do research on mineral commodity prices. The Bureau of Concessions, they take care of concessions, mining concessions. The Inspectorate Division, they are inspectors. You have the Department of Land Surveys and Cartography. They deal with surveys, lands and survey, and the Cartography Bureau, they produce maps. Mineral rights licenses. As I told you, the Class C license is restricted to Liberian. No equipment. It's primitive tools, but people are now being encouraged to form cooperatives. A group of 25 Class C miners can form a cooperative where they can use semi-mechanized equipment like excavators and other or design washing plants to process their gravel. Okay? It's part of the ASM sector. The Class B mining license is also part of the ASM sector, semi-mechanized. and also the Class A for the big companies. We also have research licenses. Your research licenses, prospecting license, you take it to obtain a Class B. Even according to our mineral and mining law, you should take a prospecting license for the Class C. But the practical reality in Liberia, Class C, many Liberians are involved with it. So it's a small area of land, 25 acres. So somebody going to do a detailed prospecting, preparing a report. Really, that doesn't really work. So they just work in line with the mining agents, the mine monitors, they obtain their licenses. But for the Class B, you have to do a prospecting, prepare a prospecting report. But since the policy now, due to political interferences, new policies are coming from the minister that you don't obtain prospecting license, you go for straight Class B. But it's a serious problem for us because we need those data. You have to do prospecting. Just a man paid $10,000 for a mining license, and he just want to mine like the Chinese. There are many in Liberia. With all those information, it's a problem for us. It's just going straight and doing mining. So with some of the policy by the government, it affects the industry. Okay. Then, as we've seen there in the slide, there are other research licenses for the big companies. We take reconnaissance for 6 months, renewable another 6 months, exploration licenses. As you see further down, as you see further on your right-hand side, the exploration licenses, they are for the big companies. But back down there, from 2008 to 2012, gold production was average at 20,000 ounces per annum. Okay, back then in the years. Okay, so between 2012 to 2016, we see, as we see in the previous slide in the graph, there was a downturn in gold revenue, in the revenue. Okay, the first there you see the weighting ounces, the gold is weighed, they appraise it. Okay, we don't have the technology to, because in other countries, the royalty of the gold also vary with the quality of the gold. If it is 21 karat or 18 karat, based upon the purity of the gold. So we don't have the technology. They just appraise it. They take that 3% royalty. So the last in the box is that's the revenue generated for government. There's still prospect there, but with the issue of bureaucracy for the holders of those trading licenses or those mining licenses, the owners of those mining licenses to get export license and export their minerals, their gold, is so difficult. So some of them are bypass the sector. Okay, so the issue of diamonds is the same problem as you see there. Okay, the royalties. These are the royalties generated from the sector between 2012 to 2016. As you see the graph, the yellow is the gold, the blue is the diamond. The appraised value of gold and diamond per ounce and carat. So what we did there, the statistics, okay, we take the appraised value of each of the mineral when it's appraised, divided by the number of ounces. So we have the appraised value of gold per ounce, the appraised value of diamond per carat, represented there. The challenges of the ASM sector in Liberia. The second part of it, there are a series of challenges of the ASM sector in Liberia. There's a need for qualified personnel to manage the sector, geologists, mining engineers, mining agents. There's need for the trained professionals to guide our ASM operators to maximize their resource, whether it's an alluvial resource. Also health and safety issues, environmental issues for ASM operators. Availability of favorable geological data to define a potential alluvial or alluvial resource for ASM exploitation. Okay, some ASM operation is done in the alluvium in Liberia. Some they mine within the fresh rock, okay, in Liberia, or saprolite exposures. Okay, so but there are lack of favorable geological data to define potential alluvial targets. There are more. So with funding, with support, the availability of the favorable geological data can maximize government revenue. There's a serious public health and safety concern in the ASM sector. Serious one. Okay, we have no regard to public health and safety. Negative environmental impacts, there are a series of them. Issue of mine fatalities, we'll go through the next, as we go through the slide, you see it. It's a major concern. That's why there was some tremendous program made in the last 3 years, but we have huge mine fatalities. Illicit ASM operations, smuggling remain challenge. ASM side, as we all, even from the neighboring countries, it serves as a corridor for child labor, illicit drug trafficking and other activities, prostitution, ghettos, political interferences and what? Constrained bureaucracy, spiritual practices among indigenous miners. Okay, as you see in the photograph there, this is an artisanal gold mine located in Grand Bassel, Central Liberia. A very nice saprolite exposure. That was a gold rush. The guys with no regard to public safety, they don't use helmet. We advised them to set up these benches. Some of the bench height was set. We advised them to set some of the bench height at least between 1.5 to 2 meters. Okay, and there was a huge casualty here. Many of the miners, when the gold rush started, without no regard to safety, they were undermining the pit stability, causes huge mine fatalities. Okay, so here there's no regard to public health. The guys use the same place, they eat, they use it for toilet, everything, you know. So they are vulnerable to public health issues. Contaminated water body, as you see there in a photo there, some part of southeastern Liberia, the gold is mine is associated with the mythic, the greenstone belt. You see the greenish color of the water there. So they mine from they divert the stream, they mine from there. The presence of chloride and other mythic minerals made the water green. Okay, and it affects the water downstream. It affects the aquatic species. It makes the water, the turbidity increase in the water. There's a series of mud, introduction of toxins and other chemicals. It affects the aquatic life. Okay. Statistics on mine fatalities.
Michael, 1 minute.
Okay. We had a huge concern of mine fatalities. Between 2013 and 2014, we made some tremendous progress, but we are still at risk. As you see in the statistic there, because compliance monitoring. The role of the Geological Survey in the ASM sector, okay, we are involved in mapping our artisanal working and alluvial prospects. Also, program that promotes the mineral potential in the country, research, evaluating the process of new mineral commodities, also identifying potential threat of geohazard that may result from flooding, coastal erosion, for ASM operation, and also beach and mining, okay? There are other rules, vetting licenses, compliance monitoring, rule to central government, in crafting mineral and mining regulations, providing technical assistance to investors. Okay, in the map there, mineral occurrence map of alluvial and industrial minerals in Liberia. Okay, as you see there, these are streams. There are occurrences of the industrial minerals, diamonds. Diamonds are mined only in the alluvium. You see there in the Akin. Okay, there was some discovery in the eastern part of Liberia, the Berimian, here, not far off the border from Cote d'Ivoire, but there are many mines in the western region. These are streams. These statistics were taken in the 70s. Okay, the occurrences of these minerals, gold, diamonds, some of the industrial minerals. As you can see, even in our coastal belt, the occurrences of rutile, emenite, there are potential for them. Even our neighbor Sierra Leone, there are big projects there. So geology go beyond political boundaries. There are prospects of we mining a bigger heavy mineral basin deposit, as you see rutile in our coastal belt. Okay, just to before concluding, please a minute. Okay, these are the ASM sites. They are designated sites that we decided to map. There was a project there, Konombo. There were 3 sites there we decided to map. ASM site. In those sites, there were ASM workings. Okay, so we mapped the workings. We generated data. Okay, basically, the terms of ASM workings. if the guys are mining the saprolite, the hard rock, gold and diamonds, the various mineral commodities. So we generated the data, and some of them with the previous slide I show you, we integrated it with the geochemical data set, okay, from those geochemical sampling that were done, and there was some correlation in them. So with more time, with more funding, we can define more alluvial resource and help government maximize revenue by issuance of licenses, okay? These are various recommendations to help improve the sector. There's need for capacity building for staff in the sector. There are challenges with logistics. In order for the execute our mandate, there's a need for regulation on artisanal and small-scale really in Liberia. There's need for regulation on that, exclusive regulation on that, okay? Because some of the Chinese, as one of my colleagues said, they don't have the capability, the technical competence of handling exploration licenses. They pretend and they come to get Class C, so they can manage it, okay? There's a need for an autonomous, independent body like for the Geological Survey to be autonomous, okay, like in other countries, to effectively function. And also there's a need for the establishment of a mineral code in Liberia. Some people are discussing it now. There's a need for it that will help, at least with good lawyers, that can help track a mineral-related crime against the state and other issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike.